Hi, my name is Kelly Canning, and this is my second vlog for the Global Learning Project. So for this one, I went to Vivian's part of the Vietnamese Student Association, as I talked about in my last vlog, but she took me to one of their meetings, and it was a different kind of meeting, she said. Most meetings weren't run like this, but they have these big and littles, kind of like how Greek life is, which I'll talk about later. Um, and so she said it was going to be a little bit different. This isn't how we always do things, but I should still come and I'd still learn a lot through going to that specific one. Before I went, I was very nervous. I was very afraid that I was going to offend someone or say something stupid or just make some comment that wouldn't have been good, or not that it wouldn't have been good, that it would have been bad, but just say something that I probably would have came off as weird. That was my biggest worry. I was just very nervous and I didn't want to offend anyone, or I was afraid of not comprehending their culture, or just, I don't know. I didn't know what to expect. I was very nervous. But once I got there, I was still nervous, but the biggest thing that I realized was that I've never been so aware of my blonde hair and just how white I am. That was my biggest thing, because it's a Vietnamese group in the student association. I was the only white girl for miles, and everyone else had this black dark hair, and I stuck out like a sore thumb. I have this bright blonde hair. I've never been so self-conscious of it, but I kind of took a lot just away from that, because you think about everyone else who is different and goes to a white school or something like that, and that's how they feel like all the time. I sat through a 1 hour meeting and I was so aware and so just conscious of it. So that really opened my eyes to that. But during the meeting, like I said earlier, they had a big little kind of thing. They're basically just mentors. For the bigs are mentors for the new people who are just entering the group, the littles, and they use the Vietnamese language for them. There's three little terms they have. It's em, an, and chi. I wrote it down. The bigs are like the older mentors. For a boy, they refer to you as an, and a girl, you're a chi. But then for the littles, the younger people, the new people, they are all M's, no matter boy or girl. So I thought that was really interesting, and I connected this to Greek life and how all cultures are kind of intertwined still. Like, you can still take aspects of someone else's culture and turn it into yours and use that for whatever. Like, they're still using their language, but it's an idea that came from an Americanized version of Greek life. Again, these are all these cultures combining, and I thought that was kind of interesting. I kind of noted on that. Yeah, I just thought that was cool and should be talked about. During the meeting, I was kind of observant of Vivian, and we didn't get to talk or interact a ton during the meeting because she is on the executive board, so she was running around doing all that. And she got 3 M's that day too, so she was all over the place. But I was very observant. I talked to some other people and learned a lot, but from just observing Vivian, she was very focused. And again, this could be because she is on the e-board, but she was very focused in this whole meeting. She was constantly paying attention. She was really taking on her leadership positions, which, like I talked in my last vlog, she's always been like that. But she was taking control of everything. That was her thing. She nailed it. She's just very driven, especially in that kind of group. It's very near and dear to her heart. So, yeah. And she just kind of made it like it was like her family, kind of. Speaking of a different topic, half the people in that group found out that they're all related. Vivian's last name is Wynn, and she found out one of her M's was a cousin of hers. Never knew that, but I thought that was kind of funny. Not to be another stereotype that all Asians have same last name, but I thought that was kind of interesting. But yeah, that was how Vivian was when she was doing that. Very dedicated to that group. After I left the meeting, I still was very self conscious of myself. I was like, wow, I am the most basic white girl. I fit the part awesome. Like, I was just very self conscious of that. But I did feel just very enlightened. Like, I walked away feeling really cool. Like, I learned so much, and something that I had no interest in before, but now that I was so appreciative that I learned it. Um, and I kind of empathize for, again, like kind of how I mentioned earlier, I empathize for these people who do go to an all white school and are, for example, the only black person. Like, you feel for them because I was only in a situation for an hour and I was so aware of it. It just kind of made me realize a lot, and I felt really thankful that I went through that because now I feel like I can be much more empathetic and sympathize for other people like that. As far as Vivian and how she relates to what we're talking about in class, I think she's just like any other person. There's something different about her. Her culture is her culture, and she's very in tune with it, which some people aren't, if that's anything. But as far as what we're talking about in class, there's nothing crazy about her. She's Vietnamese. That's it. Like, I don't know. There's nothing that she does that stereotypical. She doesn't really. We talked about stereotype threats a little bit and how she does feel like, um, you know, she's known for being Asian and having good grades and all this and being good at math. We talked about it a little bit, which I also talked about in my last vlog, but and just implicit biases, but not to be redundant, but I think that she's still just like everyone else. Just taking everything in as a whole, as far as education and culture go hand in hand, I still believe that different cultures will help education no matter what. You learn from people who are different from you. And especially in a world like today where, I mean, in America too, we're known for being the melting pot. I think we learn a lot from people from different backgrounds. And just going for this 1 hour meeting, I learned so much. And so, yeah, I was really happy that I went, and it was a really awesome experience. And I hope to continue to learn more, not only about Vietnamese culture, but many other cultures. So that's kind of my whole experience in a nutshell. Yeah, thank you.